Alright guys, so about 3 weeks ago, I made a video talking about this pretty big FNAF leak where a bunch of behind the scenes photos for the FNAF 2 movie got leaked. Basically, there was this one account that posted a couple of these studio pictures of the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie animatronics. And basically, this guy started a snowball effect where a bunch of other accounts started to post these behind the scenes pictures. And it was also the first place we saw the movie version of Springtrap, the costume that was used in the post-credit scene. This was the first place we saw a good look at the costume where it wasn't covered up in plastic or just the suit and the head. And it's still currently the only place we've seen it, as to my knowledge. Like I said, we have seen it a couple other times. There was this one behind-the-scenes picture of the Springtrap costume during the filming of the post-credit scene where it is covered up. There were also a couple other behind-the-scenes photos at the Jim Henson Creature Shop where you can see the parts of the costume in the background. Also, about 12 hours after these photos for the costume were leaked, a couple YouTubers like Dorko and 8-Bit Ryan and all that went to visit the set and film their cameo in the FazFest scene. They posted their photos and videos of the Springtrap costume from their time during the filming of the movie. But in all of those instances, it was just the parts of Springtrap. We did not see the full costume, and the only time we did see the full costume, he was covered up like we saw in the movie. Now, I'm not sure if this behind-the-scenes photo was technically leaked or not. I'm pretty sure it was officially posted. It might have been leaked. I don't think it was. So that's why this leak was pretty notable, because this was the first time we saw a full good quality look at Springtrap. So fast forward to around the end of the year 2025, a little bit after the digital release of the FNAF 2 movie, we finally figured out what the true extent of this leak was. And man, it was way bigger than I thought it was. So when these images first leaked, there were about 80 of these images, and that's already a fair amount. And there was a lot of Springtrap, surprisingly. Like 30 of the images were Springtrap, and that was surprising to me, because why would they take so many pictures of just Springtrap and not the other characters? And I theorized in my original video that, oh, maybe the people who found these images just decided to leak the Springtrap ones instead of the other characters, because he's obviously the most interesting of the bunch, because we've never seen a full proper look at the Springtrap costume they used for the FNAF 2 movie, the prototype costume. And also, speaking of those accounts that posted those pictures, I theorized that all these accounts got them from the same place and they were just gatekeeping them or something, and they only decided to share a couple images and most of them were just Springtrap. And then they also decided to watermark their tags on the images or Photoshop like John Cena into a couple of these images, like this one here. People saying he's on this one, but this one he's not in there at all, surprisingly. So in summary, I don't know where all of these accounts got those images from. I presume they were all from the same source, and then they decided to Photoshop them and all that after that. And we also had no idea how many of these images there were. And that was the case until recently, when I'm pretty sure all of the images from this set of behind the scenes photos leaked. Maybe after the digital release, someone finally decided to rip all of the images they could find and then just post them. And if you thought 80 images were a lot, what about 11 gigabytes worth of images, all adding up to 10,000 images? Oh my gosh. For the people who want to make accurate 3D models of the FNAF 2 movie animatronics, man, this has got to be the best Christmas present ever. Oh my goodness, guys. I have no idea where to start with all of these images. I was originally just going to record me just having an overall look at all of these images in all of these folders, maybe look at a couple of them. But I did do that, and it ended up being like 20 minutes, so I'll probably upload that in another video. But I might as well put some of the highlights in here. Toy Chica, oh my goodness, it just keeps on going, it just keeps on going. Oh, it just keeps on going, it just keeps on going, it just keeps on going. Oh no, oh my goodness, it just keeps on going. Oh, bro thinks he's helped wanted Spring Bonnie with that head shape. But you can tell the person in the suit was having fun wearing this, look at him. They're definitely having a lot of fun wearing the costume. Yeah, he's doing the mimic arm kill here, look at that. I really think he is a mimic, guys, look at that. Oh yeah, look at that, it's just a normal Cupcake. And then, bam, no, you turn it around, he's got eyes. Look at that. Oh, he looks almost cute in this shot, man. Oh, when he opens his eyes, though. And look at that. Nice lighting and all that, man. Look at that. He's pretty creepy. Look at that. Oh, all the detail, the fur, you can see. These are really nice, high quality, these images. You can see all the puppeteers. Really crazy look at how the puppeteering they did for the puppet. It's really impressive, guys. It's really cool. And also, if you're wondering where you can find this leak, I'm not going to be putting a link in the description at all. Definitely not. You will not find a link in the description to a tweet with a Google Drive link to someone who uploaded all of these images, or at least most of them. But I guess let's just start with the amount of images again. So like I said, there's 10,000 images. That's crazy. And last time when we got just a little sneak peek of all of these images, all of these leaks, we mostly just saw images of Springtrap, and I was wondering, why are there so many of just Springtrap and not the other characters? Why just him? And like I theorized, it was most likely that there were a bunch of other images of the other characters, and Springtrap was just the one that was posted by the Twitter leakers, because he's obviously the one that's the most interesting of the lot, because we've seen a bunch of the other characters already in the movie and the other promotional materials. But Springtrap, we've only seen him covered up and pieces of his suit, so it would make sense to leak more of him, and of course he's Springtrap, so why not just leak more of him instead of the other characters? And that does appear to be the case, because Springtrap, he has 200 photos of him. That's crazy. 200 photos of the Springtrap costume. But when you compare it to the other characters, like Toy Chica and Toy Freddy, they have over 1,000 photos. The Puppet and the Puppetling dolls, they have almost 700 photos, 686 around. And Withered Freddy, he has over 700 photos. And Withered Bonnie, who only had 26 seconds of screen time in the actual Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie, he has 500 photos. And the Toy Cupcake, which we barely saw in the movie, probably less than Withered Bonnie, probably even less than Springtrap, he's got 170 photos. And the last one I'm going to be talking about is the classic animatronics. I'm just going to be talking about classic Freddy. Basically, he didn't really appear in the movie a whole lot. He was just in the final scene. You'd think they'd already have a bunch of photos from the first movie, but no, he's got 500 photos. Now, let's look at some of the interesting finds that were in this set of leaks. Now, of course, there's the ones that I mentioned in the last video, like the Withered Bonnie animatronic with the red eyes from the games and not the blue eyes. There are photos of him with the blue-white eyes, like the movie, but there's also the ones with the red eyes that we saw, that I talked about in the other video. We also got the other interesting lights that they used to get the nice lights on the animatronics in the scenes. You can see more of those clearly. You can see how the puppets puppeteered and all that with all the puppeteers. It's really interesting to see how they doing the movements on the puppet. Of course, you got a better look at it in one of the behind-the-scenes extras, but it's really nice seeing it here as well, and the same thing could be said with Mangle. It's really nice seeing some of the puppeteering done on Mangle in here. Of course, you see a better look at the Mangle puppeteering in the actual dedicated Mangle behind-the-scenes extras, but you also get a really nice look here. Last time as well, we also saw Foxy's arms. Now we've got more photos of Foxy's arms that were used in the final scene when he attacked Toy Bonnie. And it's also a better look at how the puppeteering for those arms were also done. Again, it's really cool seeing the puppeteering. And again, we've got more shots of Circus Baby. There's not really much interesting here now that we've seen a couple YouTubers showing off the Circus Baby animatronic on the set, this same location, the Afton house. We've only got 15 more photos, and they're pretty much the same shot, just at a little bit different angles and lighting. Very similar shots for all of these. We've also got photos of MatPat where we've also got photos of Toy Bonnie where he's missing his arms and legs. It's just the head and torso there. It's like, what is he? Is he C-3PO with removable limbs from 1982 by Kenner? What is he? Why do they take photos without his arms and legs? My best guess is they just wanted a consistent shot of their head, a very clear shot of their head where he's not moving at all, where it's just in the same place so they can test it out in different lightings. I guess that's my best guess, but then why didn't they attach the arms on the little rig they have? I don't know. Maybe it just couldn't hold the weight. I really don't know. And for Toy Chica and Toy Freddy, we've got a couple sets of photos where they're in a completely different backdrop. Like in most of them, they're in the same blacked out studio backdrop. But some of them here, like Toy Freddy and Toy Chica, they're in like a different backdrop. Like they've got a lighter background here. And I wonder why. It's just them two, none of Toy Bonnie or anything. It doesn't really make sense. I don't know why just those two. I get Toy Chica plays a main role, and then Toy Freddy's, of course, the main face of the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location. So I guess that's why. Maybe they want to test out different lights for them because they're more important, I guess. I don't know. Why not just do Toy Bonnie as well? And also for Toy Chica, we've got photos of her with just the eyes in the dark, and that looks really cool. But why only her? Like, not Toy Freddy or Toy Bonnie? None of the others, just Toy Chica. Also, another thing that I only just realized is that Withered Chica, I don't think she ever did her classic T-pose in the movie. She always had her arms down by her side, and in all of these promo pictures, she's also got her arms down by her side. There's none of her doing the T-pose, and I'm kind of surprised by that, because we already got photos of Withered Bonnie with the game-accurate red eyes, but we don't have any of Withered Chica doing the T-pose, and that was pretty much the only pose she did, aside from the vent camera and her in UCN, I guess? I think the arms were probably just too heavy for the actors to holding them out by the side for too long. I think that might be why, but I'm surprised there's not even like one photo of her holding the arms out doing the classic T-pose. I'm kind of surprised at that. I mean, the folks at Jim Henson, they probably could have come up with some sort of solution with maybe some sort of like metal bar that holds the arms up and it doesn't tire out the actors or something. They can just rest their arms or something. That probably would have been better for them. I don't know, but kind of surprising that Withered Chica didn't do a classic T-pose at all. Also, we've got a bunch of photos of some Polaroids that were taken at Jim Henson's. There's not really a whole lot here that's interesting, just some more shots of the animatronics, really. There's this whole wall of Polaroids, this one, like, drawing here on the side. Maybe that's some sort of inside joke that we don't get. If someone knows what this is and it's not actually some sort of inside joke that we wouldn't get without the context of being at Jim Henson's, then let me know. But there's Polaroids of pretty much every character, including Springtrap over here. There's a couple of him. I don't know why they took these Polaroids. My best guess, I don't really know, just to maybe see how they look on Polaroids or something, on those Polaroid cameras. I really don't know. And you can also tell that whoever took these images in the first place, they went through the effort of taking a bunch of pictures of, like, pretty much all of these Polaroids, or most of them, one by one. That's crazy. I wonder why they did this. It's really interesting. I wish we got more as to why these exist. Maybe you guys will know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of these. We've also got a bunch of photos of the sets. We've got some of the damaged, abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza from the first movie after it all collapsed after the events of the first movie, the ending. So we've got photos of the main dining room and the show stage area here. And we've also got one of the storage closet here. I think this is technically supposed to be the place that we saw in the post-credits scene with the Springtrap animatronic. And we've also got that hallway that connects to that storage closet here as well. And also the lighting for all of these rooms, they're completely different from what we saw in the actual movie. So I wonder what the point of these photos were. My initial thought was maybe they're testing out the lighting, but no, it can't be because the lighting's different here. The actual light bulbs in all of these photos, they're actually on and working. We never saw that in the first movie, obviously, because the place was abandoned and broken down. So why did they take these photos? Maybe they were taking these photos just to see how the set looked, like get a sense of scale, because there's some photos where the crew member's there in one photo and then the next he's not there. Maybe that's just coincidence, I don't really know. Maybe I'm just a FNAF fan trying to dig into too many little details. And also that storage closet there. Is that coffee maker up there a reference to coffee? Maybe, maybe not, probably not. I don't think it really is. Maybe, it could be. But I didn't really see anyone point it out in the first movie. I think this was the location in the first movie where, of course, William Afton was locked up here in that room. And it was also, I'm pretty sure it was also the room where Bonnie and Chica was standing there and the cupcake was thrown in the vent. I'm pretty sure it was that room. But then in the second movie, Abby said on the bus that they locked up the yellow rabbit in a room that nobody has ever seen. I don't know, again, maybe I'm just being a FNAF theorist and digging into too many little details when they don't mean anything. It could have just been a reference to how the safe room wasn't really seen by anyone aside from William, the missing kids, Henry, the employees, and all that. And you could also technically apply that to this room as well because it's in a back area. No one back in the 80s/90s, no one would have seen this room. Also, another thing that kind of confused me was that in the movie, it kind of looked like there was no roof or something, like one of the walls was missing in like the hallway and this storage closet because like all the wind blowing and like you can hear like the thunder and all that. So there's no missing parts of the walls here in any of these photos. It's all the same like it was in the first movie. So I presume that's something they didn't really bother to do. Of course, they didn't really need to just remove one of the walls or something, remove part of the roof. But that kind of confused me in the second movie because why is part of the building broken? I guess it's just because it was either from the animatronics destroying the walls to come and save Abby, or it was more likely from the events of the first movie that part of the building just broke down as well. There's also quite a few photos of the toy animatronic location, the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in the second movie, where it's weathered and all that after it was abandoned. And again, in these photos, the lights are on for most of these, or at least the lights for like the attractions, like the carousel and the stage and all that. And you can also see they were most likely testing different lights as well, because in some of them they're different colors and all that. I don't think any of these lights were on in the movie. Maybe they were, but I just don't remember. The only one that I do know was on was the Lolbit head, the Mangle head, of course. And you can see they were testing out multiple different colors here as well. I'm not sure if it rotated during the movie, it might have. But they were almost definitely testing out different colors of the lights on the Mangle head. Now, unfortunately, there's no photos of the pizzeria before it was weathered and all that, surprisingly. I was really hoping to see some of those because I want to see why the mangle head was just so much of a bleached pink during the 80s scene. It was very orangish almost in that 80s scene, in the flashback scenes when the pizzeria was during its heyday. And I wonder why. It's the color's not at all like the actual mangle animatronic, even from what we can see in the flashback scene. If it was just the weathered set, then I could understand, but in the flashback scene, I really wish we got a better look at it because it really looks like it's the same bleached pink as it was when the set was weathered. Now, what's also part of this leak is really cool. We got a bunch of the promo pictures that were used, or a bunch of photos that were going to be used for promotional purposes, for like the teasers and the trailers and all that. We now have the original sources for all of these photos. There's tons of them. There's so many of like Toy Freddy in the curtains, Toy Chica in the curtains. You've also got photos of just the curtains themselves, so they could Photoshop the animatronics in afterwards. It's really crazy seeing the original sources and alternate takes of these posters. It's really cool. These would have just been left to rot on some sort of hard drive at Blumhouse if these photos weren't leaked. If you like making edits and photoshops of the movie animatronics and like you want to use photos of them in the curtains and all that, or you just want the animatronics themselves to make your own custom poster, man, you're gonna have a field day with all of these sources. It's crazy. And you've got so many of like the Withered animatronics as well. It's really cool seeing the Withered animatronics. You've got some close-ups of their faces for like some of the posters that they used. I'm pretty sure some of these were used. And man, they look really cool here. You can really see all the details on all of them. It really makes you appreciate the craftsmanship that went into these animatronics. Even the people that were for some reason hating on the Jim Henson Creature Shop's animatronics, you've got to appreciate the small little details, all the weathering, the grime on the Withered animatronics and all that, even on the toy animatronics too. You really got to appreciate it, even if you're one of those weird people who are hating on these animatronics for some reason. And you've also got the Withered animatronics in some special lighting as well. We saw some of these in the last video, along with a group shot of all the Withered animatronics lined up, kind of like the first movie posters. Man, I really wish they went through with this and actually put this out there as some sort of promotional poster. That would look really cool. And in my last video talking about these leaks, I theorized that the reason this style of photo, this style of poster with all the animatronics lined up didn't see the light of day, it was just dead by daylight, is because they couldn't fit all the animatronics into frame in a way they wanted. And since we got more than 2 photos from this set, I'm pretty confident that that's the case, because in all of these, Withered Bonnie is being blocked by Withered Freddy, and even Withered Chica is being blocked in most of these. But I still really wish that they just pushed for this poster to be made and had it all lined up. I'm sure they could have done it, even if they had to Photoshop it with the individual shots of the animatronics. I still really wish they did it. Also, I might have seen some photos where they try to do this with the toy animatronics as well, but I can't find it. They're not a part of this set that I've downloaded, so maybe they were just an edit that I saw online using these photos, so maybe they don't exist, maybe they do exist, I don't know. Now, with a lot of these photos being used for promotional purposes, you may be wondering, why would they take photos of the classic animatronics and Springtrap? They're not going to use them in the marketing for the second movie. It makes no sense. Why would they take photos of them? Now, one of the reasons might be because they want to see how the animatronics look under different lighting. Now, the thing is, pretty much all these photos of the classic animatronics, they're using the same lighting. There might be some small variations in all of these. There definitely is with Springtrap, but of course, he's Springtrap. They might have wanted to test him out and see how he looks under different lighting, and they definitely could have used these photos to see how they look under the lighting. But there's a couple photos in here. I'm just going to show like 3 of them. There's this one with Springtrap, this one with Toy Freddy, and this one with Withered Bonnie. And they all have this weird passport color lot thing here. And this thing is a Calibrite color checker. And is used for, you guessed it, to check how the colors look on camera. Basically like the white balances and all that. The color consistency across multiple shots. So that is 100% one of the purposes of these photo shoots. Now again, with the classic animatronics, I want to once again bring up that why would they need more pictures of them? Wouldn't they already have done this for the first movie? Well, one, obviously it's been like 2 years since they shot the first movie, so obviously things change, the camera settings change and all that. Like I said, the animatronics themselves might have been changed. And also another reason to take photos of the classic animatronics is because they obviously might not have taken this many back when they did the first movie, because they didn't think the first movie was going to be this successful. Maybe they're going to send these out to merchandise companies as like a guide to see how the animatronics look as good reference photos. Or maybe they needed to get some sort of reference photos for some other reason and send them out to some other place. And I'm going to go out of a limb here and say, maybe this is why they got leaked in the first place. Maybe all of these photos got sent out to some sort of merchandise company or some other company that needed reference photos of the animatronics. They just sent them all over for some reason. And then after that, someone working at those companies that got sent those images, they then leaked them out somewhere else. And then the people that were on Twitter/X that started leaking these in the first place, that's where they got them from. Now, of course, this is possible, but it's very unlikely. This is just me throwing out ideas. Of course, I'm just a random FNAF kind of theorist, FNAF fan, just digging too deep into things. I did that already with the FNAF 2 movie when I was predicting it. I made way too many out-of-pocket theories. I dug way too deep. The movie was way simpler than I thought it was going to be. I recommend you check out my video looking at how wrong I was with the FNAF 2 movie because, man, I just throw out theories. I'll dig too deep. That's just what the FNAF community has become. Mr. Hippo warned us and we didn't listen. Now, it may seem like that these photos of the classic animatronics and Springtrap weren't taken for promotional reasons, but there's photos of classic Freddy in the curtains. Why? It doesn't make sense. Why would they use the classic version of Freddy from the first movie in the marketing for the second movie? It doesn't make sense. They didn't use these, so why would they take them? My only guess is that they took these photos of classic Freddy for some other promotional reasons, for like a re-release of the first movie, like a physical version or something, or some sort of bundle with the second movie. That's probably my best guess. I really don't know any other reason why they would take these photos of classic Freddy in the curtains. Now, going back to these pictures, there's a couple of things that are missing from this leak that I'm surprised we didn't see. Now, the first one I said before is, of course, the toy animatronic original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location in its heyday, before it was weathered, the set before it was weathered. I'm surprised we don't have any pictures of that here. I also want to give not an honourable mention, but more of a dishonourable mention to the first movie Cupcake, the classic Cupcake. Why isn't it here in this set of leaks? Well, it didn't appear in the second movie, so it makes sense that they didn't bring the Cupcake back. But it's also kind of ironic because we got merch of the first movie classic Cupcake with the drink bottle. So it's kind of ironic, especially if these photos were actually used for reference purposes for the merch companies. If they sent all these photos off, they took all these photos of all these animatronics and they decide to make the Cupcake from the first movie. This dishonourable mention could also apply to Golden Freddy, since he was in the first movie only and not the second movie. It makes sense that there's no photos of him. But something that did appear in the movie, but for some reason isn't a part of this leak, surprisingly, is Toy Chica without her beak. I'm kind of surprised. We only saw it briefly in the movie, yeah, but I'm kind of surprised. We saw it in the behind the scenes videos and photos. We saw it in the workshop there, but we didn't see it in this set of leaks being worn by the Toy Chica animatronic. I'm kind of sad we didn't see that. I know, like I said, it only appeared briefly in the movie, but I still think they want to take photos of that whole head they made, especially since they took photos of Springtrap, so why not take a picture of Toy Chica without her beak? And there's 1,000 photos of Toy Chica, so I thought they would have taken photos of her without her beak. But there is one more character that I'm kind of surprised, kind of not surprised, but more so disappointed is it in these leaks. Shadow Freddy, he 1,000% appeared in the second movie. No. With the Golden Freddy, no. I'm pretty sad that he didn't appear in the movie. I'm very sad. One of my favourite, if not my favourite FNAF character did not appear in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie. But the actual character that I'm talking about is the Withered Yellow Rabbit. Yeah, we've got a ton of photos of the actual fixed Yellow Rabbit that appeared in the second movie, but we don't have any of the Yellow Rabbit from the first movie. Now, you may be saying, he's like Golden Freddy in the Cupcake. He didn't appear in the second movie, only in the first movie. It's either that, or, of course he did appear in the second movie. He appeared in Vanessa's Hallucinations, although he did very briefly, where it was just William Afton, Matthew Lillard taking off the mask, and then his arm reaching at Vanessa. It was really just that. But still, the Yellow Rabbit really should have been a part of these leaks, the Withered Yellow Rabbit, and I'm kind of disappointed because I really like how that costume looks, and I would have loved to see some high quality, full clear shots in some really good lighting of the Withered Yellow Rabbit costume in this leak. I would have loved to see that. So I am kind of disappointed that this costume was not a part of these leaks, and it's in the same boat as the Beakless Toy Chica. Now you may be saying again, well, they only briefly appeared in the movie, so why take pictures of them? Well, we got full clear shots of the Springtrap costume when he appeared in a post-credit scene all covered up in dark lighting, and we got 170 photos of the toy Cupcake, so why not get at least Beakless Toy Chica? She's new for the movie, like those two, so why not get at least Beakless Toy Chica? The withered yellow rabbit costume, yeah, he was in the first movie, but come on, at least Beakless Toy Chica. Now, the last thing I want to do is, a lot of these pictures, it almost looks like they were taken in burst mode, where a bunch of photos were just taken repeatedly after each other. So, I want to try something. I want to try and have a slideshow go very fast in, like, burst mode of these leaked photos and see if it looks like a video. Let's try that. Alright, so it may not look pretty impressive so far, but man, it already looks pretty good. But wait for it. Right here. There it is. Look at that. Oh, man. Let me slow it down. It looks even better. Wow, look at that. It feels like this some leaked insider stuff. We should not be seeing this, but man, it already is that in the first place, but this is really cool. I'm gonna have to do a full video looking at this, like look at all these Springtrap. Wait for it. Right here. Oh man, he looks so cool, man. Oh man, he's spinning around. Look at this, slow down. Man, and when he was spinning before, he looked like he was in a microwave. And that's gonna be it for this video. Now, in my initial video talking about these leaks when they first surfaced, I already did a full analysis of this Springtrap costume that was used in the second movie's post-credit scene and was also confirmed to be a prototype, not final for the third movie. So if you want to see that, watch that initial video when these leaks first surfaced, and also compared it to the regular source's amazing cosplay. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Bye.